I love stencils and I love my gel press. And of course, these two things go together like peas and carrots. But have you tried using layering stencils with your gel press? Let's explore this next level look. Every technique video is narrated live while I'm doing the technique, so you're getting a real-time view of how the whole process works. Pull out the supplies I'm using and create right along with me, pausing as you need. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. Welcome back to my workspace. I've got it all set up for gel press work, and I've got out a whole bunch of layering stencils. Now, these are the kinds of stencils that will maybe create an entire floral look, or sometimes a pattern, or even an abstract grouping together, layering colors on top of each other. So for this video, I'm going to use something very simple. This is called layering orbs, and this is just to show you exactly how the layering process works and what you need to do to be successful with your layering prints. All right, so this particular layering stencil group comes with 3 different sized orbs, and we're going to start with the smallest, most restrictive. So you want to work your way out from the most restrictive to the least restrictive, so that way you can be layering your colors on top of each other. So this is very much like a multi-layer print that you are building directly on your gel press. A few things you're going to want to keep in mind are the colors that you choose. So even though we're going to be drying in between, we want to make sure that we're working from lightest to darkest, because that seems to work out the best. Of course, you can experiment and come up with new ideas. Some things may work better than others, and just have fun with your gel press always. So we're going to actually start off with this light portrait pink, and I'm going to put just a little dab on the side here and go ahead and get that started with my brayer. So basically, I'm just filling in all the spaces on my stencil, just like that. And of course, I'll remove any excess on a scrap sheet on the side. I just happen to have a piece of patterned paper that I was wanting to get some ink on. So there we go. Just put a single layer on here, and that should be pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and take my stencil off, and we're going to see that we've got our first layer of dots. Now, you really need to wait for this to dry completely. And the best thing I recommend to do is to get a little handheld fan. I like this one because it's nice and compact, and it's actually pretty quiet. It's not heat driven, so it's not going to heat anything. It's just going to move air and dry this space. You can use your heat tool if you have like a low setting on it, and you need to move it around a lot so that way you're not scorching your gel press or melting it or doing any kind of weird thing to your gel press. But I recommend getting just a little fan like this that's USB powered. You can just always have it plugged in, and when you need it, you just turn it on and dry the entire area. All right, so now that that is completely dry, see it's not bringing up any paint, I can go ahead and move on to my next stencil. So I'll go ahead and place this next stencil, and I just have to remember like which direction it was and where everything goes. There we go. And pop that second stencil into place. All right, so again, I've got that nice and firmly down on my gel press. I try to get out a little bit of these bubbles so that way I don't get any other paint underneath it. All right, and for my next color, I'm going to go crazy and do this light green permanent. So just a little bit of that on the edge here, and again, I'll go ahead and use my brayer and brayer that right over the pink. And if it looks like I need maybe just a little more, I can go ahead, of course, and add a little bit. No big deal to do that. All right, again, just get all of the ink off of my brayer and go ahead and pull up my stencil. And again, we will dry it all up. All right, so that is mostly, if not completely dry, good to go. All right, so we're moving on to our last stencil. I'll go ahead and put that in place. So there we go, again, pressing that down firmly. And I'm going to go ahead and use this fun red color, alizarin crimson. I'm going to put that right on top, the whole thing here. All right, so just like before, go ahead and lift off our stencil and get this layer dry. All right, so this whole thing is completely dry, and now it's time for us to go ahead and pull up this print. I'm going to go back to that light portrait pink that I started with, and that's going to be our background color. I recommend doing a light color for the background, although there's a lot of different ways that you can approach this, of course, but we're just going to go ahead and cover this entire thing. I'm going to get a nice thin coat on here, not too thick, because we don't want it to not adhere. We want it to be a moderately thin layer, so that way it's going to adhere to both the paper and the paint on your gel press. You want to make sure every inch of this is covered, everything you want to pull up at least. So see how I've got that all nice and covered. You can still kind of see through it a little bit where there isn't any paint on the press at all, and that's basically perfect coverage right here. So now I don't have to wait at all. I can just go ahead and put my piece of paper right on top. Now this is the fun part. I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I've got positive contact, pressing on this whole thing, all those edges. Get really good contact in the center here, especially because we want to pull up all of this paint at one time. Just go ahead and give it a little massage here. If you're using the right kind of paper, this is 100% cotton resume paper. It's a nice weight, and it does not absorb a whole lot of water, so it's not going to like get stuck here. It's not going to pull up in pieces or anything like that. So now I can kind of test and see where I'm at. See, it's pulling that whole thing up. That's good. It's good, looking good so far. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and keep pulling. If I want, I can kind of come back here and see if I can grab that. There we go. I grab those little extra pieces. And that is a masterful layered stencil print from your gel press. I hope you enjoyed this technique and you add it into your toolbox sometime soon. When you give it a try, share it out on Instagram and tag me at NicoleWatt I always love to see what your creative mind is thinking. Thank you so much for spending a little time with me today. And until next time, happy crafting.